up to 14, 15 stops of dynamic range, equivalent to full frame cameras, in some cases even better than full frame cameras. Guys, welcome back to the channel. So this morning I came across a video titled, "Is Fujifilm worth the investment?" And in the same title it read, "Watch this before you buy." I watched the full video, and instead of commenting in the comment section, I decided, let me do a quick video on the points that this creator has made in their video. So from what I can gather, this creator is basically breaking up with Fujifilm. Now, as I can see from the video, she's using one of the older, XT bodies, which is the XT3. And she's had some bad experiences with her specific unit. However, she is painting, all Fuji bodies in the same light. And towards the end of the video, she basically says that the only good thing that has come out of Fuji is the Instax. Now, I completely disagree with her, and we're going to go through all the points that she's mentioned in her video. What made me make this video was basically the battery section. She's obviously using a XT3 and she's not happy with the battery performance on the XT3. However, she doesn't make mention that all the newer Fuji bodies, including the XS20, the XT5, the XH2, the XH2S, which is using Fuji's newer battery, which is way more improved than her current battery that she's using on the XT3. When I saw that section where the creator does not mention the new improved W235 batteries on all the newer models and totally ignores the fact that the newer models all use way more improved W235 batteries. Now, I must say, from the previous Fujifilm X app, the new revised version is so much better. When it comes to connection on my iPad or whether my Android phone, yeah, there are some troubles now and then. However, all I'll do is I'll give it a restart and then Bob's your uncle. Fujifilm X app on the latest version with your XS20s with all the new Gen 5 processors, you're even able to download RAWs via wireless transfer through the X app. There's so many settings on the newer X app. You're able to check your mechanical shutter, your electronic shutter, and there's many other options built into the latest version of this app. So I'm not sure whether this creator is referring to the older app, but I can tell you that the newer app is way more improved compared to the older versions. Now, on the topic of autofocus, now I'll put a link down below on a video that I've done with regards to autofocus on my XS20. Now, we all know that me personally, when I got into the Fuji system, it was not about autofocus. Rather, it was about, the handling of the camera, about the colors that is reproduced from the various sensors on Fuji bodies, but it was not about autofocus. However, having said that, they've come a long way in terms of autofocus. Now, is their autofocus perfect? Absolutely not. Having said that as well, on the XS20 on previous versions, like I made mention in my autofocus video, and I'll link it down below, the XS20's autofocus in previous firmwares was more than usable for run and gun style shooting. Now, when are you going to use autofocus? Mostly with run and gun style video shooting. I can say that in photo work, in the type of work that I do, photo work, whether it be weddings or events or portrait work, I have no issue with autofocus on any of the Fuji bodies that I've used. I've even shot sports with an XT2, and to be honest with you, I had no issues. However, my issue with autofocus is video autofocus, and personally it's not a major issue. Tracking subjects, yes, that is not their forte currently, and like I said, if they can get their autofocus to the firmwares where the XH2S, when it just got launched, the first or second version, for me that is good enough autofocus. So when would I want the best autofocus? I would say run and gun style, when I've got a little camera flying on a gimbal with a 35mm prime or 23mm prime. I'm doing run and gun. I've got two cameras locked down on a tripod to get different angles in manual focus, and I want to catch some B-roll on the gimbal. And even then, most of the time when doing videos, I'm doing highlight videos for clients. Client wants, 6 to 7 minute highlight videos. And then you're obviously in editing, you're going to choose the best clip, not where there's pulsing involved, or you don't have focus. You're going to use the best parts of that camera footage that's on a gimbal. You're not going to use everything on that gimbal. And when you're doing, sliding shots, for your clients, or reveal shots, you get your focus and, you put it in single or you put it in manual, you get your shot and you put it back on autofocus. So for me personally, in terms of autofocus, like I said, if Fuji can just, get it to a stage where it was 1 or 2 versions before their latest software, then I'll be more than happy flying XS20 on a gimbal for run and gun style. And then obviously for vlogging as well, I've been shooting this whole video on a Fujifilm camera with eye auto detect. I'll look back at the footage and see what it's done, but it seems to be having my eye. I'm not sure if there's any pulsing happening. Like I said, 2 to 3 versions prior to the latest version on the XS20 was good enough for me to use on a gimbal XS20 with a 23mm prime, and then just playing a bit with the settings. But for tracking video autofocus, yes, there are some lenses with Fuji that you're not going to want to use for tracking. Example, your 56 1.2, your older 35 1.4s, you're not going to want to use for tracking. And I've demonstrated with my X-T4 and a 90mm f2 on the latest version of the X-T4, the tracking was quite capable. Now I'm pretty sure Fuji's would be able to get it at least to that level and a bit better. So when you compare APS-C with full frame in low light, we all know that the full frame is going to perform obviously better than the APS-C sensor. But when it comes to dynamic range, it's a total different case. If you look at the newer sensors of Fujifilm APS-C sensors and the dynamic range that they've been obtaining from these sensors, example with the XH2S, up to 14-15 stops of dynamic range, equivalent to full frame cameras, in some cases even better than full frame cameras. So dynamic range is not a point when it comes to APS-C versus full frame. Then you've also got the GFX medium format system, that was also mentioned, but for some people that's just out of their range in terms of budget, including mine. I do shoot Sony as well as Fuji, and like I said earlier, each one has its role depending on which project I'm busy with. But I don't have any qualms with APS-C versus full frame. To be honest with you, when I'm doing a photography work or even some video jobs, I prefer using the Fuji. Nothing on Sony, it's just sometimes I prefer the look from Fuji. And low light, doesn't bother me. You've got 1.2, 1.4 lenses from Fuji, which give spectacular results in low light scenarios. And in terms of lenses, there's so many lenses for Fuji APS-C currently on the market. 1.8, 1.7. Voltrox has new 1.7 ranges that has been launched. They've got their Pro lens, their Pro versions, which is also 1.2, 27mm. They've got a 75mm 1.2. So low light is also for me out of the window when you're looking at using those lenses, f1.2 lenses on an APS-C system. I'll link down below some video links that I found that was created with the XH2S and an APS-C sensor, and you guys can see for yourself the dynamic range on those cameras is equivalent and sometimes, like I said, better than the full frame counterparts. It depends on the hands that the camera body's in, what it's going to be able to produce. So that's just my opinion on APS-C versus full frame. On an APS-C with some decent lenses, you're able to produce some spectacular work, especially on the Fuji system. So that's my take, guys, on Fujifilm and its competitors. If you have any comments, drop them down below. If not subscribing, hit the like button. It really helps with the algorithm. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace out till the next one.